over the course of the next 16 or 17 classes, you'll be reading together with this club. Okay? Now, when you're on the carpet, you're expected to sit with that club. Okay? We're not doing that right now. So that means you didn't follow my directions when I said sit with your club on the carpet. Alright? So move and make it work. Quickly. Who's in your group? Take you guys over there. Now, a famous French philosopher once said, hell is other people. Hell is other people. What do you think he meant? Tell your partner. Turn and talk. This is why you need to be close to someone. Okay? So, Harry and Inbe, you guys, when I say turn and talk, you guys talk to each other. Katie, you talk to Ethan. Okay. So, what does hell is other people? What do you mean? Okay, can someone share an experience they had where they thought, what they can connect this to, where they thought this is true because I experienced this? Anyone have an experience like that? For me, one time it was Christmas Eve, and I was in Seoul, and it was the last subway train of the night. I was in around Myeongdong, right in the middle of Seoul, trying to go home, and getting on that subway train, it was like pushing it, going like this, pushing it. People just, and I thought, that could connect to this quote. Hell is other people. There are too many people there. Everybody cares about themselves only. Trying to get on that train was terrible. Do any of you have an example?
When I was second grade, I went to the Niagara Falls, and then there were some drunk people saying I want to the ghost, the horror house or something, and then they were just saying random words to me, and my parents were there, but it was really annoying and kind of scary.
Okay. All right, so I'm sure in your lives you will think this to yourself once or twice, maybe more, probably not less. Okay? And this is the topic we're going to practice, we're going to work with in this unit. So I'm sure that when you walked through the door today, you noticed a new essential question on the board. Where's the new essential question? Over there, right? So, Ava, can you read it to us nice and loud?
How can reading about different people's experiences help me develop empathy and help me improve my relationships with others?
Okay, thank you. So, in this unit, we're going to be reading not only to push ourselves as readers and continue where we left off in our last reading unit, or our last unit of reading fiction in the beginning of the year. We're going to go forward from there. But the other thing we want to become better at through this unit is interacting with each other and understanding how other people feel. Okay? So our goal is to grow as readers, but also to grow our own empathy. And we're going to practice this by the way we read. Okay? And that's a big centerpiece of this unit. So to help us get into that unit and to start thinking that way, we're going to go back to the book, First French Kiss. You remember that? It's about Will. The story we read earlier in the year was popularity. Right? Remember when he was picking clovers with one group, and then he became popular, and he crossed the schoolyard and became popular with the cool kids. And then later he got beat up. Remember that? His name is Will. Right, Will. So we're going to read more about Will. And this time with Will, I think he was 11 in popularity. So we're going to go back in time a bit. Will is 9 years old in this story. And it's called My Side of the Story. Okay? And as we read, what we're going to think about is relationships. Okay? And as we read, I'll be talking more about how we can think that way. Okay? So I'm going to begin the story now. And we'll stop as we go through to have some short discussions. When I say turn and talk, you're going to work with the same partner. Okay? I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom practicing my signature. What's a signature? Sign, right? Your autograph. Practicing my signature when my brother came in and asked if I wanted to throw the ball around or shoot baskets. No, I said. So he looked over my shoulder at my signatures, went to the bathroom for a few seconds, came out, went to his own desk, unraveled an entire roll of Scotch tape, and stuck it to my head. Okay. So, we've already got an issue, right? We already got a problem. We already have a relationship. Okay? Who's the relationship? Who's in the relationship we encounter first? What's our main character's name? Will, right? And who put Scotch tape in his head? His brother, right? What does he say? My brother came in, right? So we've got Will and brother. Okay. What's our first reaction to brother? How do you feel about the brother? What do you think about it, Lauren? Right, he's unkind. Doesn't get along well with his younger brother. I'm wondering why the younger brother says no. I get most, maybe not most, but I think often if an older brother or brothers play together, shooting baskets is fun, having a catch is fun. Why doesn't this guy want to go outside and play with his brother? It's a question I have. Right? I'm also thinking that this is quite a strong reaction to saying no. What are you thinking, babe? Do you agree? Do you think that... I'll use two of you guys, for example. Let's say that James says to CJ, let's go on the field and kick the soccer ball. You want to go? And CJ says, no. And then James smacks him in the head. Right? Wouldn't you wonder, why is James so upset? CJ said, all he said was no, I don't want to go outside and kick the ball. Right? So I'm thinking the same thing with Will and his brother. Okay? So you may feel like your first your initial reaction might be to say, oh, Will's mean. Or, sorry, Will's brother is mean. Okay? But in this unit, we're going to move away from thinking only about individual characters and their traits, and we're going to think about the relationships they have with other characters in the book. Okay? So, we're going to read on and try to figure out more about this relationship. Okay. Naturally, I was outraged. What'd you do that for? I asked. It was a stupid question, because I know very well why he had done it. He had done it for the same reason he had stuffed me in the laundry hamper and tied me to a chair with my best ties. He had done it because he was 14 and had the great fortune to be blessed with a little brother he could bedevil at will. What's bedevil mean? Do you know? So he could bedevil at will. This might have to go on the magic mirror of words. Bedevil. I'm going to write that down because we're going to check it out later. Right now, I think it means something like tease. Okay? Try to get it off, he said. This I attempted to do, but he had rubbed the Scotch tape so hard into my scalp that it had become part of my head. Let me try, he said. So he tried. And I yelled, and he stopped. Then he gently pulled a piece of tape off the side of my head, along with 6 or 7 pieces of my temple hairs. What? Do you know what a temple hair is? Where's your temple? Right here, between your cheek and your skull. The soft part next to your eye and your eyebrow. That's called your temple. So try right now. Pull out a temple hair. It hurts, right? It's a very sensitive spot. Right? It's different. Like you can pull hair over here, it doesn't hurt. Pull the temple hair, pain. So, we've got these new details coming from the story. New details about this relationship. Okay? I want you to turn and talk. Tell each other what you know about this relationship between Will and his brother. And turn and talk. What do you know about their relationship? Some reasons. Okay, so I heard a lot of good things. I heard some people say it's obvious that they don't get along very well. His brother is older, and he's teased him for a while. It seems like for a while. He mentioned some details before about being tied to a chair, and what did he say? He stuffed him in the laundry hamper, tied him to a chair, and he seems to do it all the time. Maybe because he finds it fun. Do any of you have a younger brother or sister? Do you tease them? Well, see that? Chloe just laughed like this. Okay, so maybe it looks like Will and his brother are probably close to normal. Although the Scotch tape seems a little severe. Okay? So, as we're thinking about this relationship, we need to remember that it's early in the story. So, we don't want to write how we feel about each character in stone. Because we know that in stories, characters change. Right? Or what we see now may need, or we may have to revise our ideas about the characters and their relationships as we learn more about the story, or as we move through the story. Okay? And as we read on, we got to expect to revise our ideas about their relationship. Okay? Now, I'm going to keep reading, and I want you to think about your ideas. Your ideas about this relationship and how it might change as I read. Okay? Even at the age of 9, I knew that I had been mightily wronged. Even at 9, I knew that this violated every code of justice and fair play that I had ever been taught. So what are you guys thinking now in your head? Because I'm thinking, I heard 9. He repeated 9. Even at the age of 9. Even at 9. I'm thinking 9 and 14. So that's like a 4th grader and a 9th grader. It's quite a large gap. Right? 4th grader is still like almost like a baby. 9th grader is almost in high school. Right? It's a big gap here. And so, my heart full of righteous rage and indignation, I leaped out of my chair, past my brother, in search of justice. So if you are the younger child being teased by an older brother or sister, where can you find justice? Mom, right. So that's where he's going. In those days, justice looked a good deal like my mother. It had lovely brown hair, a warm, enchanting smile, and a soft, understanding voice. It was comforting to know that in a matter of seconds, my mother would hear the evidence, weigh the evidence, and punish my brother. Generally, things were murkier. Generally, I did something by accident, then my brother did something back, and I did something back, and on until it was impossible to tell who was at fault. But this was the case of a lifetime. And the best part of all was that the evidence was stuck on my head. When I reached my mother's room, I saw that the door was closed. For a moment, I hesitated, wondering if she was sleeping. But I was so sure of my case, so convinced of the general rightness of my mission, that I threw open the door and burst into the room screaming, "Mom, Mom, Skip put..." And then I realized that I was talking to my father, not my mother. Okay, so a lot has happened. Okay, we've got some new characters. Write them down. So when new characters come into the story, it's important to think about what relationships they have with the characters we already know. So I'm going to add Will and Mom. Will and Dad. And then we got Skip. Skip and Mom. Skip and Dad, and then Will and Skip. Okay, so we got these different relationships in the story, right? New characters have been introduced, and I write something there. I'm going to write again. Okay? So now we need to remember that relationships go two ways. Okay? It's easy for us to think about the author, Will, right? Because we're reading the story from his perspective. But how might Skip feel about Will? How do older siblings feel about younger siblings? What do you know about them? How do you feel about your younger siblings? Anyone else? My son, in grade 5, had to write a poem about his sister, right, for Korean class. Right, for Korean language and literature, he had to write a poem about his little sister. And it's something like Ne Dong Sang. Right, that's the poem title. And it's all about, she touches my stuff. She follows everything I do. If I eat a piece of toast, she wants a piece of toast. If I have milk, she wants milk. Does she like milk? No. If I do that. So, for us as readers, when we observe these relationships and hear about them in the story, that initially we want to be on Will's side. I thought that poor younger brother, his older brother Skip, he's so mean, this, that. But we need to put the glasses on for Will, right? So we see through Will's eyes, Logan. We also have to jump in there and look through Skip's eyes, right? Even if he doesn't seem like a very likable character right now, okay, for us to get into the story, to really analyze these relationships and the issues that people have with each other, we need to see from all sides. Okay? So we're going to do this with all these relationships here. So, two questions we're going to ask. And I've already got them up here. When you notice trouble in a scene, we stop and ask, what's happening between the characters here? And what's happening between the characters? The two brothers are fighting over this. Mom and Bob are doing this. Expect your initial ideas to shift. With more of the story, the question becomes, what's really happening? Okay, so what are the bigger issues between these two characters? Okay? We'll be thinking about how the author shows us these relationships. So can you characterize Will's relationship with his mom based on a piece of that text? Ava, did you raise your hand? No? What do you think? How does he feel? What's the relationship like with his mom? Let me go back here. In those days, those days, Justice looked a good deal like my mother. It had lovely brown hair, a warm, enchanting smile, and a soft, understanding voice. It was comforting to know that in a matter of seconds, my mother would hear the evidence, weigh the evidence, and punish my brother. Does this few sentences give us an idea about the relationship Will has with his mother? What do you think, Katie? Good. Can we say more than good? Okay, it seems like they're very close. Seems like she protects him often, okay, because he sees her as justice. So as you read today, these are the questions I want you to ask. Okay? Who are the characters, right? What characters have come into the story? What's happening between the characters? And then as we read, we're thinking about these different relationships. trying to see from each person's perspective, what kind of relationship is it? How does this person feel about this person? And why? And how do we know? Okay, so you're going to go back to your seats, you're going to read, your notebooks are going to be open. Wait, before you go. A lot of you may have forgotten that when you're reading, you're also writing. Okay? So if you're asking yourself right now, what do I write? Please refer to our chart over there that says reading is thinking. Okay, this reminds me of, this makes me think of. And there are a lot of other sentence stems and starters over there to help you get ideas in your notebook. Remember, the notebook is a reflection of what's going on in your head. And if your notebook is empty, what's that mean? Nothing's going on in your head. Okay? That shouldn't be the case. Okay? You guys did a great job choosing books. All of these are kind of high demand books in these units last year. These are the books that everybody wanted to read. You're going to motor through them. You're going to have a lot to say about it. Okay? So get it down. Get it down in your notebooks while the ideas are fresh. Okay, head back to your seats. I'll be around to see how you read. You didn't want to wear them?